Hello, welcome back to Pave the Way podcast. My name is Toussaint, and we're recording episode 7, which is episode 4 from the new series we call Journey with the Lord. And if you haven't listened to the previous podcast, please go ahead and listen to them because I believe there's some knowledge that are needed here. So today's topic, we called it Carry Me, O Lord. And the reason why we called it Carry Me, O Lord is as we go through this podcast today, you will see that sometimes we need Him to carry us, to get us to the next level. Because if we're going to walk with the Lord, we're really willing to live our life to the fullest, like to maximize our potential, we're gonna need Him. He's gonna be the one to be in control, and He's gonna be the one to carry us, because only Him knows the way. There's a preacher that I love so much. He always says that God is the only one who finishes before He starts. So He knows your end before He knew your end before He began you. Before He began creating you, He already knew your end. He had already made a way for you to walk through. So when you got here, the enemy was waiting to snatch that from you. But now that we know who God is, He's taking back us to our right way, the true way, to the way He wants us to walk in. But we cannot do this unless we are holy, or we are aligned with His will, or we do what He wants us to do. So this is what we will be looking at today. Right now, even though I called it Carry Me, O Lord, but we will be focusing on His laws. So one of the characters that God has that everybody knows, I don't care who you are, if you don't even believe that God exists, if you have heard a little bit of Him, the number one thing you know is that He's holy. He's holy. This sin cannot come close to Him. So if we're going to walk with Him, we will have to be holy as well. Unfortunately, if you feel like you cannot make it, I will tell you how you can do it, but you will have to be holy. That's something that we have to do. So as we go through here, I will go deeper into it, and I'll explain how it works. In Exodus chapter 20, He lays down all His commandments when He was with Moses at Mount Sinai. He gave him all the 10 commandments. Most of us knows these commandments, but it's hard to keep them. None of us keeps them, especially in this world. This world we are at a point in this world where we don't fear the Lord anymore. People do what they want. Liberalism. So I can do what I want. I can wake up today feeling like a woman, and that makes me a woman. And I can wake up today feeling like I want to sleep with somebody and sleep with them. It's not even fornication anymore. It's just making love. I want to make love with somebody. I can go out, meet a random guy, and take a random girl, take her home with me, and that won't even be sex. That won't even be fornication. It's just gonna be making love, right? It's fancy. Nobody's afraid of making love. Everybody would love to make love, right? The other thing that's even more funnier is the F word. F word is in our vocabularies. The people we elect every day, they're not afraid to go on TV and curse. Just use F word in every word they say. And it's being televised everywhere in the world, and we feel like it's okay. So some of us don't even think that the F word is a sin anymore. But this doesn't change the fact that these things hurt God, man. This doesn't change the fact that God is holy, and if He calls it sin, no matter what you call it, you can change the name for it, you can change the way you do and go behind those, but it's still a sin. If He says do not commit sins, then making love is sin, abortion is sin. No matter what you do, you cannot get away from it. A sin is a sin. God is a judge, a righteous judge, and you might think you're getting away with everything, but you cannot get away from that. So what I'm saying today is God gave us the law to keep the order in this world. That's all the law is. So I live in Canada, and we have laws here to keep us in order. I know I cannot run a red light. That's for sure. I know I cannot drive while I'm drunk. That's for sure. And when I don't do it, I feel at peace. But when I run a red light, that's when my heart starts pounding and look all over the mirrors if the cops are not close to me so they can pull me over and give me a ticket. But when I obey the laws, I don't have to mind all those things. It gives me peace. It gives me peace of mind knowing that if I get to a red light, I stop. So it's the same thing with the journey with the Lord. When you obey His laws, when you put in your mind that you are going to obey His laws, they're not hard anymore. I used to hate His laws. I used to say, if He truly loves me, why does He have to put these things that are going to stand between me and Him? Why can't I serve Him and do the things I love? But I came to understand that all these things, these laws that He laid down, once we start breaking the laws, once we start living the life the way we want, we get away from the way He's created us to walk in. We start to get away from the purpose He created us for, the reason, who He created us to be. But when we obey the laws, that's the first step in walking with the Lord. That's the first step in walking to the right direction with the Lord. I have a verse here. It's really a scary verse, but I have to read it for you. Just give me 1 second. I'll get it and I'll read it for you. It's found in Romans chapter 1 from verse 28 to verse 30. So it says, and even as they did not like to retain God's in their knowledge, God gave them over to a debased mind, to do those things which are not fitting, being filled with all unrighteousness, sexual immorality, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, strifes, deceit, evil-mindedness. There are whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, violent, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things. You see, they're inventing new things, right? Disobedient to parents, undiscerning, untrustworthy, unloving, unforgiving, unmerciful, who knowing the righteousness judgment of God, that those who practice such things are the servant of death. If you practice those things, you're a servant of death. Not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. Yeah, you might not be doing it, but if you approve those who do it, you the same as these guys. So when at the beginning of this verse, it says they have refused to listen. It says, and even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge. You see, if you refuse to retain God in His knowledge, He gives you away. And when you're given away, that's when you start doing all these things. So what I'm saying is, practice to retain God in your knowledge, okay? Everything you do, make sure it's godly based. Because if you go away from Him, if you don't let Him carry you, that's where you'll find yourself. You find yourself doing all these evil things that are written to you in here. You will find yourself approving people that are doing these kind of things. And this, the Bible said, these are the servant of death. So you'll surely die, because if you keep on committing sin, you know what's going to happen. But I'm not here to condemn you. I'm not here to tell you that you're going to hell. I know after everything you're going through, the last thing you need is somebody going to hell. But is somebody telling you you're going to hell. But what I'm saying here is, if you truly love the world, if you truly love God, you will obey His commandments. Easy. Here's the verse. John 14:15. It's easy. He lays it down just like that. There's nothing special. It says, if you love me, keep my commandment. That's easy, right? If you say you love the Lord, if you say every time you need something and you run to the Lord and you beg Him and He hears you and answers your prayers, keep His commandment. It's that easy. Maybe you're wondering, how do I do this? How do I keep His commandment? How do I be righteous in the eyes of the Lord? What do I have to do? Yes, I want to quit this thing, but I have different addictions, but I have things that keeps pulling me up, and I'm still enjoying these things. The sin still feels good. It still feels good to sleep around. It still feels good to drink. It still feels good to do the things that pleases my body. Well, it's possible to get away from that. That is number one. That is why Jesus came to this world. He came to die for you, so you don't have to struggle with these things anymore. He came so that you can have life free from evil things, free from the enemy. He came so he can break those bondages that the enemy has you in, that keeps you sinning every day. And he's willing to give you life. He's willing to give you purpose. He's willing to give you identity, but you have got to give it up. Maybe you're saying, if I give it up, what do I have? If I leave my friends that do this, what do I have? If I stop going out every weekend, what do I do on weekends? He's ready to give you something better. Honestly, you just gotta trust him. I went through the same thing myself. I did not want to give it up. I was like, I like going out. And now I don't do most things when I'm out. I'm just there to enjoy life. But let me tell you, if you're out and you spend 5 hours dancing, guess what you'll be doing if you stay at home? Those 5 hours can be used to do something useful. That's going to add to your knowledge. That's going to help you to become the kind of person you want to see yourself as in 10, 15 years from now. So all you got to do is call on him. Call on him, man. He died so you don't have to struggle. Listen, you don't have to lie. He knows more than you think. He knows everything about you. Everything. So you might as well tell him everything. Say everything that you're struggling with. Lay it down and call it out. Say, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and this, and this, and this. But Father, I am here. Please help me out. Clean me out. And put me back to your journey. I want to walk with you. And you'll see him. He will come and he will help you out with all this. So yeah, I would like to end today by one last verse that I think is super helpful to us. It's found in Isaiah 53. So we're going from verse 11. It says, He shall see the labor of his soul and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant shall justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. In other words, he shall bear their sins. Therefore, I will divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the righteous, for transgressors. So this verse says, because he poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with transgressors, and he bore the sins of many, and made intercessors for transgressors. So what this means is, even though God was righteous, he was turned into, even though Jesus was righteous, he was turned into a sinner for us. He was laid on a cross for us. He never committed any sin. He lived here for 33 years and left this world without committing any sin. And he was crucified on a cross because of the sins of people. So that is why we get healed every day. Every day we call on his blood, he heals us. So his blood is available to us. So use the blood, okay? Repent. Do not lie. Do not try to act like you can fight this sinful nature by yourself. Just call on him. Say, Jesus, carry me, oh Lord. Carry me, oh Lord. I cannot do this by myself. Help me out, oh Lord. And I'm telling you, he's going to give you strength. You're going to be able to defeat this thing. And once you stand strong after defeating it, you will look back and see, yeah, my God did not fail. I really serve a strong God. And that is why your journey, your beautiful journey will begin. When you've overcome the sin, when you feel like you don't have to do anything again that hurts the heart of God, when you understand that his blood is always available for you, when you understand that he loves you and he wants to have a relationship with you, and he was slayed for you, and he laid down his life for you, that's when you'll be like, I am nobody without him. So again, I'm telling you, cry out to him. Listen, I can tell you to go and never sin again, but I cannot forgive sins. Only he can. So tell it to him. Pray to him. If you have to fast for it, fast about your things, do it. Go for it. Seek him and you will find him. And you'll find healing. And you'll find true purpose. And you'll find true joy. You'll find pure love. You'll find pure joy. The joy that you don't have to drink for it. You don't have to pay for joy. You don't have to. That is peace and peace of mind and joy that is really pure, true from him, the maker of it all. Thank you again. I wish you a blessed week. Shalom.